if I ever fail, just know I'll go again. I never quit, cause I know that every loss may lead to another win. I'm going up.
Welcome to episode 35 of Locker Talk Live. This is our Monday recap show for the DFW, Austin, and San Antonio area. With me always are my good co-hosts, the best co-hosts anyone could ask for. Talk about Scotty T and Shana. Scotty, how are we doing this morning? I know you probably watched some Ryder Cup this weekend, if I had to guess. How we doing, man?
Man, USA, all the way, coming in big with the Ryder Cup all-time victory, literally an all-time victory, 19-9. Team USA back on top in an event where the European nations have really dominated the U.S. as of late. But now, 2 out of the last 3 Ryder Cups have been won by the United States. Now the big question is, in 2023, when they go over and play in Italy, will they get the Ryder Cup? Will they retain the Ryder Cup? They haven't won the Ryder Cup over in Europe since 1993. Bet you a lot of people watching this right now weren't even born yet. But it was a great weekend to be an American, great weekend for golf, great weekend for football. Baylor Bears beat Iowa State. Man, I'm jacked up right now, Josh. How are y'all doing?
You know, I'll answer that question here in a minute, but I always got to turn it over to Shana first. Shana, how about you? How was your weekend?
Oh man, it was great. I think it was such a weird week for sports from high school to college to NFL. I'm not too mad at it since I am a Chargers fan. But I know a lot of my fantasy teams suffered, but I'm ready to dive into this week.
Hey, yeah, I mean, my weekend, we'll see. I would say my football weekend was great. We'll see after tonight with the Cowboys, but 70-35, Texas just hammering the Red Raiders. I was in shock myself. I didn't expect that. I thought we could win that game. Didn't think we would win that by that much. The legend of Casey Thompson continues. He scored on 21 of 24 drives or something crazy like that now. Just some insane stat. It's going to end eventually. We all know that. There's going to be a game where he just doesn't have it. But that's just a crazy stat to think of. Overall, what a crazy week. And then
the legend. You're already saying that legendary status? Come on, man.
No, not legendary. No, not legendary status. I'm just saying the legend. When someone starts off well, right? You say the legend of so-and-so continues. Doesn't mean
he's
that
got a long way to go.
Oh, 100%. But come on, 21 of 24 drives, and that's a crazy stat. 2 of them have ended in interceptions. One was in the end zone. And I think another one might have been a punt, or maybe missed field goal. So it's a crazy stat. Like I said, I don't think it's going to continue. There's going to be some struggle there somewhere, but man. And then you see A&M lose to Arkansas, which it's the cherry on top. It's the piece of resistance, as you will. So what
you really. Sorry. I was just going to say, you really got to give credit to all of those DFW kids who returned to DFW, took on a Texas team, and, took down that Texas team in Texas. That was quite the homecoming for people like John Stephen Jones.
Yeah, there was some talk that maybe he should have gotten in when the starter went down. So, obviously, the starter went down. The backup quarterback, actually a Fort Marshall alumni, came in.
H-Town.
And that's where A&M started making their comeback because they knew he wasn't going to pass the ball. So Keenan on the run, and there were some people like, well, let's put in Stephen Jones there because he thrives at AT&T Center, as we all know from his days at Highland Park. Of course, Arkansas did hold on to win the game, and it felt good because, man, a lot of A&M people, and Scott, you know this all too well, a lot of A&M people were just reveling in that Texas loss to Arkansas just a couple of weeks ago, and how the turntables, if you will. So, very, very good week of college football, and a very great week of NFL football. I don't want to talk about it yet because some of my one good thing is NFL related. So let's hold off on that. Let's talk about high school because that's what we do. And man, were there some good games across the DFW, Austin, and San Antonio area. let's start with the biggest one. I think we have to start with the biggest game, the game that kind of it delivered on all fronts. Let's just say that, and let's just say I picked the right one. Y'all two did not. Y'all went with the loser in this one, and I went ahead and picked this one correctly.
Come on, man! You can't act like it was a blowout. Unbelievable.
That's right. I am talking about Rockwall Heath versus Rockwall. That final score on that one, 79-71 in 2 overtimes. What a great game. Shana, tell us about this game.
I mean, we continued last week to up-talk the game, saying this is going to be a high-scoring game. This is going to be a high-scoring game. And, they really delivered on that. It obviously was a very high-scoring game, and we were talking about, these are 2 of the greatest quarterbacks in the DFW area, if not the state at this point. But aside from that, the run game was absolutely incredible. I didn't get to go to the game, but just watching clips on any platform that I possibly could catch it. You had Zach Hernandez on one side, Zach Evans on the other, just racking up those rushing yards for both teams. It was unreal. It was a roller coaster. The atmosphere was probably absolutely crazy. I couldn't even imagine it. You have such a big rivalry game, but not only that, you have Rockwall, who's, kind of trying to come out of nowhere to prove that they belong against some of the best in the state. And I think they're really making that statement. Rockwall Heath, though, is such an incredible win for them.
Very much so. I mean, that game, and they ended on an interception to seal Rockwall Heath's win, but Scott, I don't know, this game wasn't on, so you couldn't watch it, but, I mean, what a game this was, right?
Yeah, I think Shana said it best. It delivered. And that's what you want, especially, I was talking about the ISD rivalries. It gets people jacked up. Now, I wasn't expecting 79 points to be the win. Usually it's first one to 50 or 55 wins, but 79-71, wow, unbelievable. I think big takeaways are, though, I got to show up some defenses. That's a ton of points to get up on. But the offenses, Shana, these offenses are high-powered. Quarterbacks are amazing. Running backs are running all over the field. Look, in a shootout like that, generally 70 points is going to win. So I think maybe their philosophies are, hey, let's just try to outscore everybody. But, yeah, at least the Metroplexes, and I believe they come out of Region 2. The teams in Region 2 and 6A are on high alert because it's going to be a very competitive region to come out of.
And you mentioned that it ended on a interception. If I'm not mistaken, I think that was the only interception of the game for Braden Locke. So that is just a testament to his ability to complete his passes and get them to who they need to be. Yeah,
and definitely, I think, even though Rockwall lost, this isn't really a detriment to them. One possession game, right? So definitely a good game. It's going to be interesting to see how these teams finish out the season. One thing that's interesting, Scott, which you mentioned Division II, it's looking more and more likely that Westlake is going to go Division II. Now, of course, there's still so many games left in the season. I think, 5 games left in the season at this point. So still a lot of things to play around. But with Hayes losing last Thursday, this opens the door for Westlake to go D2, and watch out if that happens.
Yeah, no, I was saying Region 2 of 6A. Because, we don't know who's necessarily going to go D1 versus D2 yet, but that's really interesting about Westlake. Saw in the comments section here, no, we have not talked about Spring and Westfield yet. That is a game to keep an eye on for this Friday. Still recapping what happened this last weekend. We talked a little bit about Spring versus Decaney. Spring really put it on Decaney, so that's going to be a fun one to watch out for on this Friday, Spring versus Westfield. But, going back to Region 2 and D1, D2, that's really interesting if Westlake can go D2. They say it's an easier path. It's still a hard path to win a state championship, but Westlake has proven that they can win in D2 and D1. So we'll see how the dominoes shake out and how they fall at the end of the season.
Yeah, and 8 and 8. Tune in tomorrow for sure. We'll have actually Matt and Josh on the show tomorrow to recap some Houston stuff. I'm sure they'll talk Spring and Westfield then, and we'll also talk about it on Thursday because that on our preview show, that's one that we'd be fools not to talk about. So those definitely check out the shows on those days. Let's move on. I want to talk about a few. I have a few handful of Austin games in San Antonio, and Shana, I'll let you jump back in with some more DFW games. Before I do that, though, I do want to shout out one score from a game. This was I believe 6-man. Let me double check this. So just a little. This is 6-man. So keep that in mind when I tell you the score. Richland Springs this past Friday defeated Covenant Classical 119-112. That was the final score in that game. You talk about a game that probably didn't feature one single punt the whole game. 119-112. What about that score?
I mean, that just sounds like NFL blitz type scores. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like you got the oversized players and he's on fire. Like that just sounds made up. Video game from the '90s type score, but unbelievable. Wow, even for 6-man,
Shana.
I'm with Scott on that. That is just absolutely unbelievable. As soon as you said that, my mind just went blank. I couldn't even imagine that.
Well, and there was the 92-0 game. I think in 6A in the Houston area. So it's not like it doesn't happen.
Yikes.
Yeah, but still, with the fact that both teams and this one scored under 100 points, I mean that really tells you that what they were doing is basically having the defenses stay off the field on that one, maybe because I mean scoring over 200 points in a game that's insane. But yeah, I had to point that one out when I saw that score. I knew we had to at least mention it. But let's move on to I want to talk about this San Antonio score real quick. Judson. After the impressive win to start the year against DeSoto, they have lost their last 4 now. They lost to Schertz Clemens 17-14 on Friday, puts them 1-4 on the year, 0-2 in district. What is going on with the Rockets, guys? Scott, what are we seeing here?
Man, I don't know what's going on. Every week that passes, it seems like that win over DeSoto is more of a fluke. I can't really think of any other way to describe it. I haven't followed Judson as closely, so I don't know if they had some severe injuries, maybe a quarterback went down or an important offensive lineman or what's going on over there. But 4 losses in a row for a program as proud as Judson, that's tough. They have a lot of pride over there, so I'm sure they'll figure it out or they're trying to weather the storm. But man, tough start to the season.
Yeah, and their district does not get any easier. They are basically maybe not win out, but they might have to at this point if they hope to make the playoffs. I mean, you got 4 teams, so they're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 team. 1, 2, yeah. So they're a 7-team district, which means that they got 6 games they got to play. They got Smithson Valley and Steele on their schedule as well in their district.
Yeah,
both of those teams are, I believe, still undefeated. If I'm not mistaken, they're gonna.
Judson could be on the outside looking in come playoffs, especially in the era where you got 4 teams from each district that make the playoffs. They could be on the outside looking in, which is just wild to say.
They are 100%. They're gonna have to win out. They have Steele and Smithson Valley on their schedule, both like I said, both undefeated right now. They're gonna have to win out to make the playoffs, and I don't know if that's gonna be possible. That's crazy to think of. Especially after week 1 of this season. Another game let's move to Austin I want to talk about is Cedar Park versus Georgetown. This was a great game. We had it on our pick'ems. I don't know, Scott, did you pick Georgetown in this one? I thought you did.
Who won? I haven't seen the scores yet.
Cedar Park won 49-45. Georgetown led most of the game. And then Cedar Park came back. Georgetown took the lead late in the quarter. And then Cedar Park scored a touchdown with about, I think, 30 seconds left. We actually, their game-winning touchdown is one of our plays of the week. We're actually going to play that for you here in a little bit, and so you'll get to see how that one ended. But what a great game between these two. Cedar Park, both of these teams needed the win. Cedar Park got it, and now I think they are setting themselves up well for district play. I think Maynard and Weiss may give them fits, but they play them at the end of the season. We'll see how that plays out. Maynard, by the way, it's another game I want to talk about. They actually won their game on a game-winning field goal. But here's the thing: they played Leander. Leander pulled the New York Giants. So Maynard was kicking the game-winning field goal, and they missed it. But there was an offsides on Leander. They got to redo it, and they hit it the second time around. So Maynard got the win there. Just a really good football game, back and forth between them. Shana, I want to move back to you. Any other DFW games that you would like to mention from this past week that were very good or very interesting as far as the result goes?
I mean, before I move on to DFW, I'm just gonna because I'm a graduate, I have to mention Beeville took down, is it Lafernia? For a pretty big win for Beeville Jones. I mean, they have Calhoun on deck and Alice, which Coach Chris Souza is an Alice alum, and he formerly coached at Alice, so that's going to be a big game for them. But you think we'll see a turnaround with the Beeville Trojans?
It's possible.
If you have anything ready.
It's possible. You definitely surprised me with that game here. I'm just taking a look to see who they beat. It wasn't Lavernia. Give me a second here. I got to pull it up on the good old Max Preps. Give me a second.
Well, it's interesting you say about Calhoun there, Shana, because you know who actually played Calhoun and beat them this week were the Second Baptist Eagles, the private school team here in Houston, going down and taking down Calhoun 23-19 in Port Lavaca, Texas. I did not see that coming. You know, Second Baptist, they lost to Kincaid to start the season. Kincaid, though, they have Dylan Bell, VYPE cover boy here in the magazine, Georgia commit, but they played him tight. It was 21-14. Second Baptist has a brand new quarterback, and he is, I think, now that he's gotten a few games under his belt, a really impressive win, in my opinion, for Second Baptist to go down and take down Calhoun.
Yeah, and so it was actually La Ferreira that Beeville beat, but still a very impressive win. La Ferreira was coming into that game undefeated, so they took their first loss. It could be. We'll see. I mean, like you said, Beeville's got a tough matchup coming up, and that's really going to, I guess, really show if maybe they've kind of hit stride at the right time. So, I mean, they play Calhoun, Alice, and then they got Cal Allen and Corpus Christi Miller. So it's not like the schedule gets any easier for Beeville heading into this one. So, but I know you said you wanted to talk some DFW games as well. Shana, hit us with that knowledge.
Yeah, okay. So I think it was big time to see Flower Mound beat Flower Mound Marcus with an injured quarterback. So Nick Evers is, you know, one of the really good quarterbacks in the DFW area. I believe he has something over 930 passing yards, and he's just really good. But he got injured, and you had a junior come in and play the hero for Flower Mound, and that is something that's really great for Flower Mound over another ISD in-town rivalry. On top of that, you have McKinney Boyd going 5-0 over Denton Braswell. I think the score was 37-34. Big win for McKinney Boyd. They, you know what, Scott, they might be your team of destiny. Maybe it wasn't Rockwall at Atascocita. Maybe it's McKinney Boyd.
I want to give a team the title of Team of Destiny. It might be McKinney Boyd Broncos. I'm not sure. I'm not ready to give it out, but they are the front runner right now, I would say. Maybe Westlake, just because Westlake still has Kate Klubnik and company, and they're rocking and rolling. So, I don't know. It could be Spring. I mean, look, Spring and Westfield, that's going to be a huge game this weekend, too. So, I don't know. We'll see. I'm ready to give it out to somebody, though.
Regardless, very, very impressive for Boyd to still be undefeated at this point in the season. So, one game I want to talk about in Austin, San Antonio. LBJ defeats Cornerstone Christian 41-26, stays undefeated. And let me tell you, I've I think I've been on their bandwagon almost all year. This team, they may very well be the favorite in 4A. I think Division 2, if I'm not mistaken. But man, yeah, they've looked impressive, which is surprising because they've lost 10 starters off of the offense from last year, and really haven't slowed down at all to start the year. And now they go into district, where just looking at their district, they should cruise through district. Of course, we'll see, but it would be interesting. They won't play Carthage, of course, because they're Carthage Division 2. Oh, LBJ's Division 1. That's what it is. So they won't play each other there, but they could face the likes of the Argyle who makes it. So, but yeah, I am all in on LBJ right now. All right. How about no, you're good. How about you, Scott? Do you have any games? I know you're the Houston guy for the most part, but do you have any games that you saw across Austin, San Antonio, and DFW that you kind of saw that interested you?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now. I was at a wedding this weekend, so shout out to our friends Kevin and Genevieve for getting married. That was a lot of fun. Let's see. I do have a lot of love for the private schools. We want to give a shout out to TCA beating Southwest Christian. I think still TCA, just where their program was to where it is now, I think it's just very impressive overall. Let's see here. No really games jump out too much for me, I would say, looking at the scoreboard right now. South Lake Carroll's doing their thing. Duncanville is rocking and rolling. Yeah, that Flower Mountain Marcus game was probably the other one that I would have mentioned, Shana, but you already talked about that one. And Denton Geyer taking on McKinney. I think DeSoto. So DeSoto has that loss to Judson. Yeah, maybe a fluke loss. They played Duncanville a little tight, but Duncanville ran away with it at the end. They got a good win over Mansfield this week, putting up 56 points. Maybe that's a team that to keep an eye on if they can really put some pieces together that could still make a deep playoff run.
Yeah, and maybe it's one of those things too. It's a week 1 loss, right? So sometimes it's hard to take into account how a team's going to be in week 1, and then you look at them week 8, 9, and 10, and they're a completely different team. So we'll have to see how DeSoto finishes the year. Shana, any other games you want to talk about before we move on?
No, I think obviously we had a very great week. We're plenty of shutouts across the board, 6A, 4A, 3A, private school even. Big time. I'm going to give a shout out to a private school. Prestonwood beat JP2 42-0. A great win for Prestonwood. And Trinity Christian Addison beat Southwest Christian 33-7, I believe it was. They held them off really well. That's another big win for Trinity Christian. Other than that, I think I've talked about all the games that were really great in the DFW area.
Not only were there great games and great results, great upsets, great games you would expect to win. There were some great plays, and every week we come out with our VYPE Live plays of the week. These are games from the VYPE Live network that we stream every Friday, but also other games of volleyball. We'll do volleyball. We'll do Thursday games. We'll do Saturday games. But these are the ones we had that were Thursday and Friday games. Like I said, they come out every Saturday. We release our plays of the week, and then Monday, so around 1:00. So here not too long from now, their poll for the week, which you can vote for which play you think is the VYPE Live play of the week. You will have a chance to vote up until Wednesday at noon who you think should be deserving of the play of the week. So with that being said, these are our VYPE Live plays of the week.
Receiver to each side, takes the snap. It's over the middle, wide open, across 30, 35 to the 40, the 45, midfield to the 50, 45 down to the 40, still on his feet. Breaks another tackle to the 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown Eagles. Wow, holy cats.
54 yards away. Hill, back to throw. Over the middle, got a man wide open.
Dropping back to pass. He's going to look. He's facing a little bit of pressure. Able to skim out of it. Throws it over the middle and picked off. And that's Rodriguez. Who else? And Rodriguez will take it to the house. 10-5. Touchdown.
Touchdown, Tigers!
Anthony
Robbie in the backfield. They're going to give it to Robbie right up the middle. Look out! And there's your shot downfield. How about Robbie up the middle? The bull is loose. 47-yard touchdown run. Zane Robbie. 3:25 left in the first.
And they will give that to Rogers. Rogers has a seam in the middle, and he is got a lot of space. He's at the 50, the 40. He is something.
I mean, goodness gracious.
Here go the Spartans rolling the dice. Rankin, he's got a free play there as he's able to get everybody to jump. He's going to lob it down there for Williams, and Williams goes up and gets it. The 10, the 5, touchdown again. Tristan Williams on another jump ball goes up and gets it, and the 54-yard touchdown play is good.
Bootleg out. Moreno throws, and it's intercepted by number 78, who stumbles in for the touchdown. Gary O'Bannon, defensive lineman, makes the interception.
Burnett drops back, now rolling to his left. Squares up, throws, and it's picked off at the 10, 20, down the sideline, 40, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10-5 touchdown Reds. 90-yard touchdown on the interception of pick 6.
Once again, those are our VYPE Lives. Week 5 plays of the week. You will be able to vote on who you think should be picked for the play of the week here in just a few minutes, starting at 1 o'clock. Definitely do that. I'm just going to ask you guys, just right there, there's 9 plays there. Which one you think? Shana, let's start with you. What do you think? Do you have a favorite there that you really liked?
I mean, I always love game-winning plays, no matter how that happens. So, but I think my biggest thing that I want to say here is Weatherford really has turned their play around. They've had big wins this season and last season. I think that's amazing. I would pick that based on knowing what they've built up over the past 2 seasons. That amazing. I loved watching that play. I think I actually like cracked a smile. Other than that, the one where the announcers are just like, he is something, that I'd pick probably one of those 2.
Hey, who doesn't love a big man touchdown, right? And of course the other one, that's the LaGrange quarterback right there. Scott, how about you? Did you see one that really stood above the rest that you would vote for?
I mean, seeing the Tomball quarterback scroll around, look like Johnny Manziel out there, that was pretty great. Underrated catch by that wide receiver, because the quarterback was just scrambling, doing his thing, just throws it up, lets his guy go out there and make a play. I love that. I love seeing guys out there make a play, and that's what's so great about all these Locker Talk Live plays of the week, is that these guys are just out there making plays. They're playing hard. The other one that I liked personally was the Stratford catch against Cy-Fair. Big win by Stratford. I mean, we'll talk about more Houston stuff, try to stay away from it this week or today, because we'll be talking heavily on that tomorrow, so be sure to tune in at 12 o'clock on the VYPE Live or on the VYPE YouTube page. I liked it because that's a good offensive play. It's good quarterback play to draw the defensive line offside and then have the awareness. Most college quarterbacks don't even have this type of awareness to go in, recognize it's a free play, and great awareness by the wide receiver to just go. He throws the ball up again, makes a play, and scores a touchdown. I thought those were some phenomenal plays of the week by all these kids.
Yeah, every week we got some great ones. I mean, I think I might have to go with the Tom Ball one. I mean, it wasn't a game winner. It was a game clincher, if you will. But just like I mean, that play, he had to run at least probably, 100 yards. Just, if you really look at it, just how much he was running around back there. And then to get usually you see that, you see a quarterback throw the ball and you think, oh no, why did you do that? But he put it only where his wide receiver was. Just a great play. And shot by our own VYPE ambassador, Ashton Lux, by the way. Shout out to him for capturing that moment. Now it's time. So that's all we got for as far as kind of talking sports goes. We move on now to our favorite segment of the show, at least my favorite segment. I think it's Scott's too. That's Who's That Mascot? That's right. Every week on our Monday show, we play a game and it looked like our thing froze there, so I had to get out of it. But we play a game where I give Scott the name of a school, and he gives me who that mascot of that school is. Last week, you went undefeated. You got all of them right. You had a little help from Shana, which that's why she's here. She can always help you out.
Effort.
Team effort. That's right. So we are going to go again. Are you ready, Scott?
Let's do it.
All right. Your first one, and this is not a joke. Atlanta. Do they have the same mascot as the NFL Atlanta Falcons?
See, I was going to go with the basketball team with the Hawks.
Oh, that's another, yeah.
Not the Falcons. Yeah, I'll go Hawks.
All right. Shana, I will always ask whether you're right or wrong. Shana, does he need to change his answer?
You know, I don't know. So I'm going to go with him on this one, and I'm going to agree with him.
All right. You are
What you got?
wrong. Is the Atlanta Rabbits. Now, if you had
Yeah, I wasn't getting that one.
if you had watched some VYPE Live games last year in the Dallas area, you would have, because New Boston played Atlanta last year. So just a little tidbit for you there. Our next one, this team recently broke, I believe it was a 30-game losing streak. It is lolling.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Sam Rayburn. Lolling?
Lolling.
Oh, bro, I think you're mad that we went 3-0 last week, and you're coming out with all these schools here. Shana, I have no clue.
Shana, do you know?
I think Lowling is the Eagles. I'm just going to say Eagles.
All right, Scotty.
Like
all right. She went with the Eagles. Shana, who grew up in and around that area where Lowling is, did she get it right? She did. It is the Lowling Eagles.
Yes,
like
Shana!
Who recently broke their losing streak, I believe it was last week. So congratulations to them once again. Hey, that's why we have it. That's actually one of the reasons I picked this, because again, it's mostly random, right? I scroll on my folder. There's like 9 different schools, and I kind of pick one of those 9. And that's what happened. It only fell there, and I was like, well, Shana may know this one because she kind of grew up in that area, in and around the area. And so she did. This one, you ready? Your last one.
Yep.
Texas City. This is in your area. This is in your wheelhouse, Scott. Texas City.
This is the Texas City Stingrays.
All right, Shana, do you agree with that? Should he change his answer?
I'm not sure, so I'm going to agree with him.
All right. You went with the
Final
Texas
answer.
City Stingrays. Very confident in that answer, and you should be. It is the Texas City Stingrays.
Boom, baby.
That's right. This one, they play a lot of our schools in our for our VYPE Live programs, so you definitely should have seen that one before. All right, 2 for 3, not bad, Scotty. You thought to begin you're like, hey, you're out to get me. I'm not out to get you, Scotty. I'm not out to get you. All right, well, let's move on to our second favorite segment of the show, and that is One Good Thing. One Good Thing is a segment where we tell you one good thing that's happened for us across the week, whether that's sports-related, life-related, whatever. I want to let you guys go first. Scotty, what's one good thing for you that happened this week?
USA, the Americans getting the Ryder Cup back was awesome to see. It was so cool to watch the Ryder Cup at Hazeltine in Wisconsin. Steve Stricker winning, the captain winning the Ryder Cup in his home state. It was really cool just seeing the guys come together as one team, because golf is such an individual sport. And this is really one of the only team events that's out there. It's the Ryder Cup and then the President's Cup, which is the U.S. team playing the international squad outside of Europe. So it's always great seeing the American flag wave whenever we come away victorious. And so also shout out to Scotty Scheffler and Jordan Spieth, Texas guys. They're from the DFW Metroplex. Jordan Spieth went to Dallas Jesuit. Scotty Scheffler went to Highland Park. And Scotty Scheffler in the singles match on Sunday took down world number 1 Ryder Cup dominating player Jon Rahm. This is Scotty Scheffler's first ever Ryder Cup, so sending a rookie out to take on the number 1 player in the world, and he comes away with the point, with the victory. That was really cool to see. So my good thing was Team USA winning the Ryder Cup.
Shana, how about you?
I'm going to give another shout out to Beeville Trojans. During their middle school game that actually was not rained out, but bad weather shut down the game. One of the coaches noticed that a Robstown player had torn shoes, and he asked their coach, "Hey, is it okay if I give him new shoes?" And he said yes. He gave him a pair of new shoes, and he told KIII News later, he remembered being that kid who had to go without often. And he decided that he wants to be the coach that he never has, and he wanted to help others, whether they're opposing teams or not. Other than that, Chargers beat Chiefs, and although my fantasy team suffered, my heart did not. So
there you go. Well, I know it suffered last year. Now that I know you're a Chargers fan, I wish I would have known that last week, but hey, that's okay. My one good thing, talking about Texas kind of X's, if you will, Scott, my one good thing of the week has to be Justin Tucker setting the NFL record for longest field goal kick, 66 yards to win the game against Detroit Lions. He's arguably, that kind of seals the fate. He is the best kicker in NFL history. He's currently the most accurate kicker in NFL history. Now he has the longest kick to go along with that. This dude, if you're ever down, or if you're ever going, to maybe try and take the lead and there's still time on the clock, you better hope you're up by more than 3 points, because if you give the Baltimore Ravens a chance to kick a field goal to win the game, more than likely Justin Tucker is going to win the game for you. What a great way too, right? It hits the goalpost and bounces, and you're like, oh, he's going to go forward, he's going to go back, it goes back. Referees raise their hands. It's good. Oh, just such a wild moment. Of course, there's controversy in that game because they're saying that the Ravens they should have had a delayed game, which would have moved them back 5 yards. They still would have had 10 seconds to make up those 5 yards, but still, just to hit that field goal in a clutch situation when at halftime in Arizona against the Jaguars, Arizona attempted a 68-yard field goal and missed it. Jaguars ran it all the way back. So congrats to Justin Tucker, the GOAT of all kickers. And that is going to be our show for today, everyone. Be sure to tune in every day. We got content every day. Tomorrow we will be I think at 11 a.m. tomorrow. Matt and Josh have to get in so they can get out at noon for other things. So we should be going live around 11 a.m. tomorrow. Wednesday, of course, we have 3 shows. We have the VYPE podcast at 10. We have the St. Pius football show with Craig Cranfield at noon. And then 6 is VYPE Coach's Corner at 6. Thursday, we have a preview show at noon. And Friday is our Pick'em show at noon as well. Scotty, if everyone wants to follow us, how should they do that?
Man, you can go to VYPE.com. Check us out there. A lot of great content. Follow us on our social media platforms. For the Hill Country at VYPE ATX, at VYPE SATX, on Facebook at VYPE Texas, Instagram, same thing. If you type in VYPE San Antonio, VYPE Boston, we're there covering out with the rankings. Josh is doing a great job with that. And I know Shana has got those DFW plugs.
I do. Okay, so follow along on Twitter at VYPE-DFW. On Instagram, it's a little bit different. It's VYPE_DFW. Be sure that you follow along because we always have new content every single day, just like Wax said.
That's right. But until tomorrow, when we come back with that Houston recap, which I'm excited for. We got Matt on. We got Josh on. We might have Scott on. Who knows? We will be back. Y'all have a great Monday, everyone. Go Cowboys tonight, taking on the Eagles. We got to get that dub, everyone. Got to get that dub. Till then, this has been Wack, Scotty, Shana. We'll see you tomorrow, and we'll see you at the games.